Hello, everybody. Welcome. Episode number 17 here. Primo, 17 episodes. Welcome to the Sit Down Marks podcast here. Thanks, everybody. Primo, how about it, man? 17 episodes.
I cannot believe it. It's already been 17 episodes. We're going into our fifth month. That's
Wow.
insane. I can't believe we're doing it. We've already been doing it this long and we've already come this far. We're going to keep on going all the way to the moon, baby. Let's go.
Moon, baby. That's right, man. Thank you guys all for tuning in, man. Welcome to episode number 17. I am your heel host, the Dirty Bird. As usual, my co-host here from the land of the rattlesnake, Mr. Team Extreme. He is the leader of the Johnny Drip Drip fan club. He don't know, he don't know it yet, but he is.
Chip, chip.
Caught him off guard there. Editor and producer of the show, my man Primo. Thank you, brother.
That's so good. I like that. Oh, man.
And of course, we are missing our man AJ here. He's going to try to join us here later today, but if not, he'll definitely be back next week. So me and Primo are going to run the show here for you today. We're going to bring you all of the latest of what's going on in wrestling. We got an interesting dropkick discussion tonight, Primo. We got our top 3 favorite Undertaker matches.
The Undertaker, player.
Somebody cue the gong. Dong.
That's right.
Yeah.
What did Johnny say this past Monday? The moist must see.
The Moist Must See podcast and all of the podcasts.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's great, man. Good stuff. He's dropping some good one-liners. That's for
He
sure.
is.
Yeah. So next week, AJ will be back with us. Hopefully, he can join us here towards the end of the show. So if you didn't get to catch it, man, last week we had Big Beef on the show.
Beef.
He's been known to drop a little warning here if you don't watch the show. Check it out.
It's the Beefster here, and I'm telling you, you better turn into the Sit Down Marks podcast with AJ, Dirty Bird, and Primo. And if you don't, Beef's gonna have to hit you with that beefy bomb. Tune in, folks. They won't disappoint you.
I love it when he says "beefy bomb."
Beefy bomb.
Yeah, part 2 of that episode coming next week. I know we had originally advertised RP Davies to be on the show, former professional boxer turned wrestler. He has a show, Odyssey Pro Wrestling, August the 7th. So we actually rescheduled with him. He's going to be on the show July 21st. So 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to have the interview with RP Davies on the show. Want to thank our sponsors here. First of all, Rowdy Energy, man. I got that orange citrus in finally.
Got your sour green apple, as always.
Man, that is tasty stuff. I'm so happy I ordered a case of that. And I ordered a case of that cherry limeade. So I am stocked up, ready.
You got the good ones.
And good to go. So, yeah, Primo too, man. Right here real quick, man, before we get started. 1 month from today, man, it's Pod Weekend. We're headed to Chicago for a little wrestling.
Absolutely. I cannot wait. Primo is going to be flying high all the way to Illinois from Virginia. You're going to see your boy there with the Dirty Bird, with AJ. It's going to be glorious.
It is, man. I can't wait to hear about all the people you're going to cut promos on the plane on the way up here. Standing up saying, let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
I love it. Yeah, man. We're watching the Scenic City Invitational that weekend. We're watching live AAW in Chicago. So they haven't announced what the name of the card is yet, but man, it's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be a good time, man. Excited for it. All right. Let's talk about our sponsor, our other sponsor here as well. 1310 Apparel. 13, the word 10, the number, .bigcartel.com is your hookup. Use promo code SPORT30, Primo, right? For 30%
That's
off?
right. Sport30 to get your 30% off at 1310.bigcartel.com.
That's right, man. We appreciate those guys sponsor the show. Can't wait to get my shirt in the mail here. Looking forward to it. But also want to take the time to thank everybody listening on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Apple Podcast, and our family over at SportinariumRadio.com. What time are we on, Primo?
7:15 is our weekly spot right after the Thomas Bryce Show, the Sports Report. However, if you guys want to go follow Sportinarium WW on Twitter or Thomas Bryce on Twitter, and you can keep up with all the replays because they're replaying us as well as other shows throughout the week.
Yep, definitely are, man. I love listening to the Mad Boxing chick on there. I'm a big boxing guy, so I love listening to her. I love the Rewind Wrestling podcast. Love listening to those guys. The Thomas Bryce Show, the Fight Show. If you see me tweeting out, man, I'm loving the '80s Mega Mix, man. I can't go wrong with that, man.
I think I was thinking this yesterday, man. I was thinking, man, Dirty's trying to compete with Thomas Bryce to see who can put out the most tweets today.
I was excited. I was listening to SportinariumRadio.com all day long, and just checking out everything. And I love having it on at the house in the background when I got when I got things going on, and I can always listen to it, man. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I think you're right about that 80s mix. I think that's our go home music.
Yeah, I like it, man. I know that's coming up right after AJ says grab them cakes.
Every time.
Yeah, all right, man. But yeah, let's get this show started off, Primo. What do you say, brother? Me and you, man, tag teaming this thing. How about this day in wrestling history and birthdays?
This day in wrestling history. Today is July. July 7th. Sorry, that caught up quick. It's already July, fellas.
I know, man.
July 7th, this day in history, 1996. It's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
WCW, Bash at the Beach.
Oh.
We had the Outsiders, AO, and Big Kev, Big Sexy, and their mystery partner facing off against Sting, Savage,
Who could it be?
Luger. Who could it be? None other than Hogan, brother. And he comes out and
it's the Hulkster.
NWO for Life is born.
But whose side is he on?
And he leg drops Savage.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the trash immediately started hitting the ring.
And that was about, and that's WCW crowd.
Oh yeah.
So
man.
They were known to be a little more cleaner and classic crowd, and then they didn't like that.
No, they didn't. Not the all-American Hogan turning the black and white NWO.
That's right. He went Hollywood right then.
Wow. Big time.
Let's move forward. Actually, excuse me. Let's move backward. I should have said this one first. 1990. Okay. We had the Great American Bash. However, it was under the NWA banner. It took place and was the last one under the NWA banner as WCW would secede before the following year's edition. The main event was Sting defeating Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
For the 1,477th time.
That's right.
And
that was, woo! That was your baby face. Sting with the blonde hair, Venice Beach, California. Yeah, man.
What a man. Golly, man. Got to be in the top 5 feuds of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stinger Splash, baby. Everybody, if you had a brother or sister, you did the Stinger Splash.
Stinger Splash. I can't tell you how many times my older brother put me in the death lock.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Move forward. We're going to move way forward. This is the last one for today. 2015, it was a Monday Night Raw. Who remembers this little moment we had here when Brock Lesnar hit a fan with a car door?
Yes. He ripped it off and slung it, and it went in the crowd, like the front row right there.
Yeah, it smacked a fan.
I remember that.
That's crazy.
We all cringed when that happened.
And that was that was in 2015. Moving on, we have the birthdays. Now, we didn't have really any birthdays on specifically July 7th, so I picked some of my favorites from this week. Okay. We'll go with July 5th, 1989, which makes him. I don't want to do math right now, but he's 18. He's 18 days older than me.
Okay.
And that would be Adam Cole, baby.
Baby! Nice. Mr. NXT.
Yes, July 9th, 1975. Ain't no stopping me, no!
No, ain't no stopping me. No.
Benjamin, the gold
Wow.
standard.
Yeah, man. Love Shelton. He made the
yeah.
Royal Rumbles interesting before.
He made them interesting. I remember he was in those first Money in the Bank matches.
Yes, he
Remember
was
when
Kofi before Kofi was
he
doing
ran
it.
up that ladder. Like,
Yes.
Man, he's so athletic.
Yeah, he was. South Carolina guy, Orangeburg.
And of course, he trained with Brock at Minnesota.
Yep. Stud.
Also, July 9th, 1959. Speaking of the outsiders, big sexy Kevin Nash
Ooh,
has a birthday this week.
Diesel,
Sweet.
baby. Always loved it when Big Diesel threw up the Too Sweet.
Right.
That's great.
And this one is a very important birthday for all of us wrestling marks.
All right.
It is July 6th, 1914.
14.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Vincent
way back.
J. McMahon.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Imagine if he had not had his son.
Yeah, exactly.
What would we be?
Exactly.
Would it be? Would we be anybody else?
I mean, there would be maybe no WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Maybe no Shane O'Mac.
For some reason, I thought Ricky Steamboat's birthday was this week or today. Was it? I thought I'd see something like that earlier.
It may have been.
All right.
But that is this day in wrestling history, July 7th.
Nice. I want to acknowledge my Sammy Callahan Death Machine shirt I got on tonight.
I like
representing my boy always.
That's
He's
awesome.
taking the title from Omega. It's my story, and I'm going with it. Soon to be recognized as the Impact World Champion.
It's got to happen.
All right, good stuff, man. Yeah, everybody listening out there, man, we're gonna we got those brand new stickers in. Text us or send us a private message on Twitter or Facebook. We'll be glad to send those over to you over Sit Down Marks, SITDOWNMARKS on Twitter, and we'll be glad to send you out some of those fresh new stickers we got. So yeah, I want to remind you too, all episodes are now available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and like we said, on sportandairamradio.com on Fridays. But right after we shoot the show here live, it drops not long right after that. So we can definitely get that in your ears very soon. All right, before we start our weekly recaps, I want to remind you next week, July 14th, part 2 of the Big Beef interview coming up next Wednesday to go along with our dropkick discussion. That is, and next week is also our pre-Money in the Bank and Slammiversary. All right, Primo, if you're ready, man, let's dive into this week's recap, man. I'm gonna get started here for AJ. I'm gonna do AEW here, but I'm gonna take a fresh little big jolt
of the bubbly,
a little bit of the bubbly here with my orange citrus to get me ready to go.
and what an AEW it was.
Man, this was a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
So, in the words of LA Knight, but more importantly, Primo Silver Fox, let me talk to you.
That's right.
I ripped you off there. Sorry, buddy.
It's okay. It's all right. Respect the gimmick.
Kayfabe. That's right. All right. So AEW Dynamite last Wednesday, June 30th, is when the show was. All right. So start off the show. This is just me thinking wrestling wise. Okay. All right. So I think we missed a big opportunity here. Okay, so the show comes on, Judas hits, right? Okay, Out comes Jericho. Okay, so he walks by, this big slew of fans, right? Mm-hmm. like, and I always love the classic pictures of the wrestlers leaning back in the front row and the crowd just going
Oh
nuts
yeah,
for him, right? Yeah,
yeah.
the pose, right? He tried to do that, but no, all these marks behind had their phones out just taking pictures of Jericho. We had a wrestling moment here, people. We could have like really had a big pop. Like this would have been
They're too
awesome.
busy trying to freeze the moment in time and not live it.
Yes. Live in the moment, people. Celebrate. You had one of the goats standing there in front of
Absolutely.
you, man, and y'all could have
Yeah.
went nuts.
And he sat there at the commentator table the
Yeah.
whole show.
Yeah, I just wanted to slap the phones out of all these people's hands. I'm like, you'll have plenty of time to take pictures of Jericho. He's right here. He's
Yeah.
posing in front of you like I'm with my people while they sing
And
my
that
song.
walkway, I know it's just the TV, like our
Sure,
TV viewing,
sure.
but the walkway depth perception to us makes that it look this narrow.
It
So,
does. Yeah, yeah. It looks like he's sliding sideways
right.
like on a building. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, just wanted to point that out, man. We had something there. It would have been cool. But anyway, moving on.
Right.
Fantastic opener to start the show. An absolute banger, as the kids say today. Eddie Kingston, the King, and Penta versus the Young Bucks. To start it off, man, awesome way to start the show. Back and forth throughout. They did all kinds of stuff throughout the match that had you totally, into it. And then by the end of the match, man, Matt was holding Penta, kind of from behind. And then he pulls him over to the ropes. Cutler jumps up on the ropes with the cold spray.
That's right.
Penta ducks out of the way. Matt, and Matt takes the cold spray. And what I was dying laughing about was Cutler continued to spray him
He's
for
like
30 seconds.
He's like freaking out. No, I can't stop it. Oh no.
Oh no.
I did.
Like he was panicking.
I was laughing every time though during the match. Whenever like Matt or Nick would be outside the ring and he'd be like, "Let me spray you down real quick."
Yeah, I know. The cold spray is what they're
And
called.
they're like, "Get my abs, man. Get my abs."
It was so great. So great. So that kind of led to the end of the match. So he sprayed Matt instead. Frankie Kazarian, the elite hunter, come out and took out Cutler. Anyway, end of the match, package pile driver by Penta on Matt, and then Eddie spinning back fist, and they beat the Young Bucks, and
Yes,
now they're
they
going to
did.
get a shot at the tag team titles coming up soon. So that
They even
was
had the Good Brothers came out and
Yep, Good Bros was involved. Yeah, a lot of the usual
shenanigans,
shenanigans that's kind of
but
been
they were
going
able
on.
to overcome. So
They were, and it was fun, interesting, good storytelling. I don't know if Penta Eddie's going to be the ones to take the belt off of them, but this is the really good storyline here. Though I'm liking this. All right, next up, Christian telling Jungle Boy he's proud of him, and then Luchasaurus walks in for the first time. And so, Primo, I already told you this about Luchasaurus. Did you know he was on Big Brother?
you may have.
Yeah. See, that's where I knew him before because me and my family, my wife, watched Big Brother,
Yeah.
and he was on the show a long time ago, and he said that he was a wrestler and that kind of stuff. And then fast forward a little bit later, Lucha Underground comes into play.
Uh-huh.
And then he's showing up here, and I'm looking at that guy, and I'm like, I recognize these tattoos. Like, they're very significant, the ones
Right.
that, and I was like, where do I've seen these before? And then I Googled it, and I'm like, holy cow. That's I can't remember his real name, but anyway, yes.
That's how I knew that Ricochet was Prince Puma.
Oh, yeah,
the tattoos, yeah.
Yep. And then I told you that Ricochet's from Paducah.
Oh yeah.
Not far from me. Yep. All right. So back to the show. Yeah. So Christian meets Luchasaurus. They talk about dinosaurs and walk off.
I think it's hilarious. Christian said he's like, I have a cousin that's part like whatever.
Paleozoic.
Yeah.
Something he said. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Next up, my man getting all the heat, especially from AJ, but he's not here. Ethan Page interview.
Go.
Yeah, he's getting the heat. He tells the crowd to shut up a few times. He tells them that he's going to exterminate Darby Allin. All right, and then Sting's music hits. Sting drags out a wooden coffin, and as expected, Darby pops out of it, jumps in the ring, and it's a big melee, man, 4-way fight. And then they spill outside the ring. Page tells Darby that he wants it in writing that he can't touch him until the coffin match.
Yeah. Sting even hit a death drop on Scorpio.
Yes, he did. I always love to see that death drop. It's so
Yeah.
simple, you know. It's like Jake doing the DDT. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's iconic, you know, for him to do it.
You got. I think it's funny that I love. You can't go wrong with Sting's entrance, but
Sure.
I like how it's the way they did the snow this time. It was going all over the crowd.
Yes, it was. It was like they had fans on that weren't
Yeah.
normally on or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So last show at Daly's place, next to last. I'll talk about that later too. So. All right, so Matt Hardy sends Jack Evans out to wrestle Jungle Boy and tells him, "I don't care if you win or not, just hurt him."
Yep.
So anyway, they wrestle. Jungle Boy wins, and they're making a big deal out of this guy here lately. They say that he just got his 50th win.
50th. First one to 50.
Yeah, first one in the company, and if anybody called it, right here,
You've been a
Right.
Jungle Boy, Mark. I'll say
Right.
that.
right here, man. I just, it just like everything just stacks up to me, and I'm gonna say this too now. Next to Jungle Boy, the other person that I feel this way about in AEW is Brian Pillman Jr.
Oh yeah.
Look, like Jungle Boy, the same. He's got the name, the looks, women, kids, old ladies love him. Guys are going to think he's cool. I do. You know what I mean? So the same kind of they got it. You know what I mean? They both just need to work on the promos.
I just can't wait till Jungle Boy just doesn't look like a kid
I know.
anymore. Yeah.
He's so slender.
He needs to be a little more grizzled.
Yeah,
But that's part that's part of his thing. So
sure.
he's not Jungle Man yet. He's Jungle Boy. So
Right, yeah. So Hardy family offices come out and attack, but Christian and Jurassic Express intervene. Basically that's how that ended. So, all right, right after that, they announced August the 4th as the return to Daly's place for the last time. They're calling this the Homecoming Show. August the 4th. And Excalibur explained it as this will be the last time we're going to be here for a long time. So, two reasons: wrestling, they're going on the road; football starting back because they use that facility.
Jags. Yep.
Jags. Yep. So
I
they
mean,
were
Jags. Trust me, Jags don't need it either.
But
now I'm gonna catch some heat from all the Jags fans.
I know he's
there
a
ain't many of
Cowboys
them,
fan,
so-
people. He's a Cowboys fan. So there you go. All right. Next up, man, MJF promo on Jericho. He says that next week he's going to announce a list of stipulations that he will give him one last match, and then he tells him that he's going to destroy Sammy Guevara tonight, which I can't wait to talk about this match, man. Holy cow. And then so that was the end of that. Andrade announced versus Matt Sydal for this week, which would be tonight. All right, next up.
That's going to be us, as you said earlier, a banger.
A banger. Yeah, it will. They're going to be able to showcase moves because Sydal's a little flippy.
Oh, man.
That can make.
He has a beautiful shooting star.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Definitely.
Except for whenever it gets hit with an RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah. What a great spot that is.
Yeah,
though.
amazing. It's in every top 10.
right. Like Sis.
Oh, that curb stomped RKO was one of the best ones too.
Yeah. So next up, Omega is interviewing Shivani. So this is another way for Omega to get heat. And he says that he woke up feeling like a king this morning because he's basically beat everybody on the AEW roster. There's no threat really. And then out comes AJ's favorite faction, the Dark Order. And they come out and interrupt. And first of all, I want to say I love how when Evil Uno comes out, he always has one hand behind his back. It reminds me of Steve Wrinkle.
Right, yeah. Yeah. He's a man.
Yeah. I love it, man. He's good. I like him. But anyway, so they come out and they're like, oh, what? Well, hang on now. Evil Uno says that Hangman Page is the challenger. That Omega's looking for. Omega says, he doesn't have the right to say that on Adam Page's behalf, and blah blah blah.
I like how they did this because they were like, he's like, we have a guy and you haven't beat him, and he's the real number one contender. And then like how Omega's like, if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, then you can't speak on his behalf. And if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, he probably doesn't want to do it in the first place. And they kept going with that. If you're talking about who I think you're talking about,
Right,
he's
right.
scared of me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It kept going around, man. So that was
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. But anyway, so Mega basically turns his back on him, blows him off. Good night. Goodbye. Bang. He goes to
Bang.
take off. Yeah. All right. Next up, Brian Pillman Jr., which, I just talked about how much I love him. And I'm not a babyface guy. So I like certain baby faces. He's on my list. Okay.
Okay.
And so anyway, so I knew what was coming up because he's got a match with Miro, and he called him a really bad name before the match. He called him a Bulgarian female dog,
Mm.
and which was not nice and not good. So, but to start the match, usual, Brian's getting his licks in, Miro's letting him get it in, and then the magic starts, and Miro pretty much takes over.
So
Uh,
he
what?
gets once Miro starts,
Oh, yeah.
once he turns it on.
Right. Yeah, brutal. Yeah, it was brutal. And kudos to Brian, man. He took those lumps very well too, by the way. So anyway, yeah, Brian rallies a little bit, but Miro takes him out. Accolade, he passes out. Ref stops it, and that's the end of that match. So Miro successfully retains. All right, next up, Hangman Page is backstage. He's not happy with Dark Order. And there's like, well, we're trying to hype you up. You're scared of failure, and so they're kind of putting little tidbits in his head. So, all right, next to last main event here, Britt Baker,
DMD.
D,
That's right.
and with Rebel versus Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. This match went back and forth. I mean, DMD basically took over. She put a lockjaw on Vicky, which was funny to me at the end,
Yeah.
forcing her to tap out. And then post match, Rose attacked Britt. Vicky set up a table outside the ring, and Britt, Nyla power bombs Britt through the table onto the floor. Not really hard, but a nice little through there. So a nice little spot through the table there. So and then that was basically the end of that. Nyla kind of stood tall, and looks like that there's going to be the little rivalry there for a little while. Next up, promo on the Pinnacle by Hager, Santana, and Ortiz, just kind of talking about what's going to happen as as we move on.
It's good by Ortega and Ortiz and Santana. And I was thinking UFC for a second there. Santana and Ortiz, but it's just I can never take Jake Hager seriously. And I like him. I really do.
Yeah.
He's a great athlete. He's like a legit wrestler and now MMA guy, but I don't know. I've never been able to. He when he gets, it's like he tries too hard almost on the mic.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Totally agree. I like him as muscle. Like he's good, like,
Mhm.
kind of stand in the back and, not talk too much. But, they got to put a little stank on him and Wardlow, kind of going back at it. So, but anyway, I feel like we're early in the rivalry between Pinnacle and Inner Circle, but I feel like we got so much longer ways to go here. Like, how are they going to blow this off eventually? Like, I just don't know. Like, we're
A
going to.
third faction's gonna
Yeah, are we going to 50-50 book all the way? You know what I mean?
right.
It's like FTR going to beat Santana Ortiz, but then Jericho beat MJF and just rigmarole circle all the way
Yeah.
around. You know what I mean? Like that. So, yeah, I don't know. But we'll see. That's why we watch it. All right. Main event time, baby. I'm going to say this right off the bat. Just talking with Primo. This match, top 5 AEW matches so far. And if the finish had been a little different, probably top 1 or 2. And I'm not even kidding.
It was
Like,
so good.
Oh man, talk to me, right?
It was so good, man. I mean, it was one of those where, like I said before, you put your phone down. You watch this whole match.
Yeah, yeah.
It had everything in it. Spots. It told a story.
Mhm.
Um, they just, whew.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, so let me get through it here. Like I could talk about tons that happened during this match, but I'm gonna read for you just what I wrote here. First of all, I wrote "Holy cow," and and this is a family friendly show. I wrote something else, but absolute great match. Probably top 5 AEW matches. These guys really went at it. The finish wasn't that good, but an absolute must watch. The best spot to me was when Sammy did a tope rope senton bomb all the way over the barricade into the crowd onto MJF.
And
Like
that
that was,
fan.
yeah, and the fan. So that was pretty wild. But yeah, getting to the end of the match, man. Guevara did a 630. Sean Spears comes out with a chair.
The
You
chairman.
know, yeah, the chairman kind of holding it, and then Jericho, throws off the headset. He's going to cut off Spears, but then he gets hit from Wardlow behind, and then so that distracts the official. Sean Spears hits Sammy with the chair. Absolute great match. I didn't like the ending. I know we had to end it some way, but it continues the feud. MJF covers him for the win, and then that's how the show went off. The final minutes of the show was um, them showing highlights of Daly's Place, things that had happened there throughout, the quarantine and all that stuff.
Yep.
But man, this show was so good, man. Like I watched the main event live, and then I went back this morning and watched it again while I
Yeah.
had time because it's
I'll
that
tell
good.
you, it was a great night at WWE Dynamite.
Right? Yes, it was. Oh man, I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't gonna say anything, but poor
Just
Jr.
kidding,
Man.
Marks. Just kidding, Marks.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it set Twitter on fire, and then apparently after that, Eddie Kingston come out to kind of send everybody home happy, and he kind of
Mhm.
cut a promo, and
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
apparently it ruffled some feathers of like Bully Ray and maybe a few people. They saying they like what he said, they just didn't like that he had never been in WWE before or something, and was saying
Hmm.
that they treat their employees best here, kind of deal. But anyway, it turned out to be a really cool thing. But yeah, that was pretty wild, man. But yeah, and then the big slip by Jr. there at the end of the show, man, I felt so bad. Like, man, nobody deserves that, especially Jim.
It's
And
okay. I mean, he's a legend. He
he
can
is,
he
man.
can do no
He is.
wrong.
But he owned it. He put a tweet
Yeah,
out about it. Poop happens, man.
that's right.
We all did it. You know what I mean? So, you know, but it's just like this guy worked for them for years. And
It's
it's
still muscle memory.
right, yeah, and like it's not you know it's just he should it's a shame does it's I'm surprised, excuse me, I'm surprised that it doesn't happen more, I mean, than it
Hmm.
has. So it's just
I
that
mean,
was a
you
big
know how
show.
many hundreds of WWE Raw shows he
Woo.
called, or pay per views, or
Oh yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
for him to even only say WWE this time.
right. Yep. All right, well, let's move on now. We're getting to let's get to the Indies first. Let's talk about what's going on this weekend in the Indies. First of all, Ring of Honor Sunday, best in the world. Sunday, July 11th, main event: Roosh versus Flamita for the Ring of Honor World Title. St. Louis Anarchy this Friday, July 9th. This is the show I'm watching. It's going to be free on Twitch, actually. It's Journey to the number 2 Anarchy. The show is going to be free. Circus Maximus, St. Louis Anarchy. Make sure you guys check that out. Gary J versus Jeremy Wyatt. Big beef is on that card. So check that out. And then also Friday night on Fight TV, you got to order it for $12.99, I believe it is. AAW United We Stand. Main event: Mance Warner versus Fred Yehi in a steel cage match
Oh man, cool.
for the AAW World Title, and then co-main event: Chris Statlander, the AAW women's champion defends against Sienna. So that should be interesting. AKA Allison Kay. She's been in AAW for a long time, and hasn't. She's been there a long time. Hasn't won the belt yet. So good story going on there. So that is, I believe, what's going on this weekend. All right, let's get into Impact Wrestling. Not a whole lot happened here. I'll go through with it. We're still the storyline of Don Callis being fired, Omega, kind of treating Impact kind of like like a stepchild kind of deal, like he's not really taking it seriously. So, but anyway, to start the show, W. Morrissey, aka Big Cast, he tells Kojima and Eddie Edwards, who is about to go out to the ring and wrestle, they were giving respect to each other. And he tells them that they're both a bunch of jokes and they're frauds. And he's going to expose them and all this stuff. So anyway, so Kojima goes to the ring. Eddie don't make it to the ring because Morrissey attacks him in the parking lot. So Morrissey on video tells Kojima that he took out Eddie in the parking lot. So then the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers, music hits, and he comes out with his protege Sam Beal, he is teaching how to be a professional wrestler. So Brian comes out, he insults Kojima, and then him and Sam Beal attack Kojima, and then Jake, what's my name?
Something.
My man comes out and saves Kojima, and then all of a sudden, player, we got ourselves
a tag team match.
Yes, sir. And then whenever that scenario happens, I always think Teddy, man. I can't help it, but I always think Teddy. So anyway, Kojima wins by pin after a lariat on Sam Beal. So that's how that one finishes up. Next up, Rachel Ellering comes out with Jazz, who is back in her corner. She defeats Tenille Dashwood. And then post fight, Tenille and Caleb Conley with a K are beating down Rachel Ellering. So Jordan Grace shows up, and you don't know. It's kind of one of those things where you don't know if she's going to jump on Rachel or if she's going to help her. So we're kind of tinkering, and she helps her. She does not turn on her, and looks like they are all back together. So her, Jazz, and Jordan all hug, and it's a big, warm ending to them getting back together.
How about
it? Rachel Ellering, daughter of legendary manager of the Road Warriors, Paul Ellering.
Oh.
If you guys didn't know. Next up, let's talk about, number one contenders match. All right, here we go. This is when things start to get a little crazy in the show here. Number one contenders match for the tag team titles: Willie Mack and Rich Swann versus TJP and Falaba. Well, the match barely gets started. Violent by Design comes out and basically just cleans house. They just beat the crap out of everybody.
So nobody gets to have a match.
They're like, oh, number one contenders match, huh? Oh, nope, not happening.
Yep. So no challengers.
Left everybody laying in the, and then they stand tall with the titles.
So next week we'll have a triple threat.
Yeah, most likely. Yep, or a thruple.
A thruple.
Yeah, I have the thruple match. So, so that was the end of that. And then next is another one of those segments where I just kind of laugh because it's like, if they get to the, it's this X division, the Ultimate X match they keep building to, it's like they keep finding different ways to have everybody piling in the ring. Well, what happened this time was Chris Bay wrestled Petey Williams to start. Bay wins the match, and then Madman Fulton, Shira, Ace Austin, Rohit Raju, they all come to the ring. They attack Petey Williams, and then here comes Josh Alexander, Trey Miguel, and then Chris Bay is kind of standing outside the ring trying to decide whether he wants to come, in or not. Doesn't, and then he finally jumps in. So anyway, just more, lead up, pump up, to the Ultimate X match. So they're going to run out of scenarios before they get there of this match. So I'm just ready to see the match already. All right, next up, another squash match for Steve Macklin. He took on a guy I'm not sure who he was, but quick work.
Did he have any sweet tea this week?
He did not. No,
Oh.
no sweet tea that I've seen anyway. But he is looking very mean and pissed off a lot when he comes to the ring already. So I think he found out that the Jameson was sweet tea as well.
Okay. That's why he's ticked off.
Right. All right, so a few little small promos between Brian Myers, Jake something. They're going at it next week. And then they also advertised New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence August the 14th at LA Coliseum is going to be in conjunction with Impact Wrestling. Good Brothers are going to be there. So, they're getting back to, if I'm not mistaken, before quarantine happened, or COVID, excuse me, New Japan had a big U.S. tour lined up where they were going to go hit some big cities and smaller cities. So maybe this might be the start of getting that back together. So, all right, here we go. Main event, Good Brothers, Kenny Omega versus Moose, Sammy Callahan, which is Tommy Dreamer's team, and it was also a partner to be named later. Well, that partner ended up being
really?
Yeah, Chris Sabin. So he ended up being on the team. So anyway, matches kind of breaking down. Moose has been acting like pissed off, like he hates everybody for a while. So, they knew that he'd be a wild card in this match coming in. So anyway, towards the end of the match, Moose is getting pissed off because he's wanting to be in the match and nobody's letting him in the ring. Always like Moose too, man. Quinn Ojanaka, former Atlanta Falcon, my boys. Anyway, defensive tackle, defensive end too. So Moose, Moose goes to walk off because he's mad about things that have happened in the match. Dreamer goes over to stop him, and they're putting their fingers in each other's face. Well, Moose goes to walk off. Tommy Dreamer goes to walk behind him. Well, Don Callis, Mr. Opportunistic, runs up behind Dreamer and pushes him right into the back of Moose. Moose turns around, thinks that Tommy is attacking him, starts beating the fool out of Tommy Dreamer.
Man.
So he starts beating up Tommy Dreamer. Sabin gets back in the ring. They drug him, throws him back in the ring. He takes a V trigger and then a magic killer for the 1, 2, 3. Moose is standing at the top of the ramp as the show goes off. The Good Brothers and Omega win again. Callis is celebrating. And then the last thing is they advertise next week. Kenny Omega, Sammy Callahan, contract signing for the July 17th match at Slammiversary.
It's about time.
Let's get this title, boy.
Yeah, I feel like this is taking forever.
I know, man. It's lasting longer than I thought, but it's all right. It keeps us guessing, man. Us guessing. All right, Primo, if you're ready, man, let's get this WWE underway. First up, SmackDown from last Friday.
Let me talk to you.
That's
got
right.
SmackDown from last Friday. Let me hit a few quick notes before we get to the big storyline. Smackety down. Smacketh of the down. Take it to the SmackDown Hotel. We got King Shinsuke and Big E defeating Apollo and Boring Baron Corbin, who is just down on his luck. They have Baron Corbin looking so depressed. He's growing out. His hairline is terrible. He's got a patchy beard going on. Oh, he looks so sad. He's I think he said he had to get his watch got repossessed or something. Or his car. Yeah, it's a bad week for him. He's a nobody now.
His dog died probably.
Yeah,
too.
he has no status anymore since he's not a king. Also, next we have the last man standing match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to see who qualifies for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Kevin Owens ends up winning this match and he moves on. So KO is our next competitor that is going to go on to Money in the Bank.
Yes, sir. Love it, KO.
We have 2 matches announced for next week. One announced for next week, which is Seth Rollins versus Cesaro for the Money in the Bank qualifying match. Mm-hmm. All Seth did, because Seth is mad that Edge basically inserted himself into the Universal Championship spotlight right after he said, he's like, I told you that I was going to be in it and you agreed. And Sonya and Adam were like, we didn't actually agree. Like, we didn't shake on it type deal.
Yeah.
And so he's going to get a chance to qualify for Money in the Bank against Cesaro. And so I guess that satisfies his sweet tooth for now. We also had a big return. Sonya Deville, I don't know, on SmackDown, they're just selecting people, female superstars, to be in the women's Money in the Bank. Meanwhile, the ones on Raw all had to earn it.
Right,
so,
yeah.
But Sonya Deville announces the next selection for the women's Money in the Bank match, and it's none other than Zelina Vega making her return.
Yeah, all right.
How about that? That came out of the blue. And
kudos to them keeping wraps on that. I don't think anybody.
Exactly. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right after they released Alistair.
Yeah, brought her back.
So, I mean, they're going to show her on TV one week and then release her like they did her man.
They need some heels.
And meanwhile, so Liv Morgan, once again, not happy that somebody's getting selected while she's out there proving herself week in and week out.
Mm-hmm.
So she asks for a match to prove herself to Sonya once again. And once again, she defeats the Sonya's selection, which is Zelina. So Liv Morgan, we're still wondering if she's impressed Sonya enough to be able to get in that Money in the Bank match, which we all know eventually she's going to be in there.
Yeah. It's going to run all the way up to the night before the pay-per-view.
She's the last one in. Yeah.
This one last match.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like Nia. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
She's just running the gauntlet.
Yeah.
So that's... And then we also have an I Quit match announced for Bianca and Bayley for the women's SmackDown Championship coming up at Money in the Bank.
Did they say? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was that?
Did they say first time ever or second time ever that match has happened between two women wrestlers? There's some kind of story right there about that.
It's definitely not the first time ever.
Is it not? Okay.
I don't think so.
Maybe it's the first one. Are they doing it in the cage? Seems
I'm
like there
not
was
sure.
some kind of first or something.
Yeah.
Like that. We'll check into that.
The main storyline of the night. So Roman is not there all night. He's pulling a Randy Orton. Edge comes out as it's revealed that at the beginning of the show that Edge and Roman are going to go one-on-one with the great one. Edge and Roman will go one-on-one at Money in the Bank. Edge says he's not going to make any excuses about WrestleMania, but he knows that he lives in Roman's head. He basically shows a graphic of him when he was choking him out with the crossface. It's like, look at his eyes. You see his eyes?
Yeah,
he's like that's, I hold real estate in that man's head.
Yes.
So afterwards, Jimmy tells Paul, I like how, because Jimmy's like talking to Paul. Paul's just standing there, like
right.
making Jimmy make up his own mind of what to do. Like he's like, you hear what Edge is saying? You heard that Big Goose won't like that. He's not gonna like that. You think I should go beat him up? I should go beat him up. You know what? I'm just gonna go get a match with him. I'm gonna call him out. Paul's just like, sure, kid. Like he didn't say a word.
Yeah, he kept on talking.
So afterwards, Jimmy says when Roman arrives, they're gonna take out Edge and plant the family flag right in Edge's chest. Jimmy's so worried about impressing Roman that eventually he talks himself into taking it upon himself to call out Edge. He comes out, calls out Edge. Edge answers the call and gets the upper hand, puts the crossface on Jimmy with that bar that he breaks off the steel chair.
Yeah.
And that's how we go off of SmackDown. That's basically all that happened in SmackDown. Nothing crazy happened. Roman wasn't there the whole night.
Right.
So that was SmackDown in a nutshell. They're just building up that match.
Yeah, the only thing I was talking about was Otis. This whole Otis with Alpha.
Yeah.
Alpha. All right, so Primo, I don't know if you've ever watched, but have you ever watched any King Kong Bundy from back in the day?
I've seen King Kong Bundy.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm getting total King Kong Bundy vibes from Otis because if he put on the black singlet 2-stripe and bring back the 5 count, Like I'm just getting total King Kong Bundy vibes. If anybody else out there, like I
You
don't
know who
know,
used to do the 5 count?
who?
Biggie with the 5 count, and he would he did that in but we see how you do that. Bonus. You know, he's coming out. He's way more serious. He's a big guy. He's not playing around anymore. So he's just uh, doing basically.
Okay.
Are we still live right now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but Otis is basically doing like.
That last 15 seconds was chopped up.
Okay.
Yeah. Your lead into NXT. You can fix that. 53 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. I was just saying that Big E used to do the 5 count in NXT.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just the way he acting, he's shaving the beard. He kind of looks like King Kong Bundy to me. So yes. All right. So that was SmackDown. So that was a Friday. So all right, Primo. How about Monday Night Raw?
Monday Night Raw.
Raw.
We got the show opener here. It comes out with a Miz TV edition with the Money in the Bank competitors of Raw. We got Johnny Drip Drip in the ring.
Johnny, the moist must see.
The moist must see. The shaman is sexy himself.
Yeah, the Monday Night.
The Monday Night Delight.
Monday Night Delight, the something guru. He used to be this.
Oh my gosh, he has so many nicknames. It's ridiculous.
I know nicknames and then real name Johnny Drip
Morrison,
Johnny Morrison.
Nitro,
Mundo. Yes.
So show opens up with Miss TV. Obviously, John Morrison's already in the ring. Johnny Drip Drip. The whole show, that whole Miss TV is basically to have all 4 competitors in the ring. Riddle decides to dedicate the match to his best bud, Randy Orton. And by the way, every time he talks about Randy in this show, he's like, "This is for you, Randy. This is for you." He's talking to the heavens, like he's dead.
Yeah, pointing to the sky.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, Drew So the whole time, when Riddle's talking on the ladder about like he's doing it for his best friend, and when AJ comes out, because AJ is always acting like a pissed off Karen every time he comes out, and I picked up on this real quick. Riddle still calls AJ Skipper from whenever he was the team captain at Survivor Series a couple years ago.
Oh, no kidding. That's right. I totally forgot about that. That's great.
And meanwhile, they pan to Drew McIntyre for a couple of seconds, and he is just losing it. Like, he's
legit laughing.
Everybody's laughing at Riddle because he's so dang funny.
Yeah.
But Omos ends up knocking Riddle off the ladder, and AJ kicks Riddle's injured foot that he got injured last week. Later in the night, they ended up having a match between Riddle and AJ Styles, where Riddle was able to defeat AJ Styles due to a distraction by the Viking Raiders that were ringside. They distracted Omos for 5 seconds. Omos turns around. AJ's like, Omos! Up on the ropes. Schoolboy.
That's right, schoolboy. Yep.
And Riddle wins.
When was Riddle up on the ladder? Was that
during Miss TV? Yeah.
He was up there, and he goes, "I'm so high right now."
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. I'm higher than I've ever been.
I'm higher than I've ever been right now. He's like looking around. He's like, I'm so high.
Oh my god! He said, Omos, you're almost as tall as me up here.
Right, almost. He said, almost.
Yeah,
almost. You're almost as tall. Oh,
He's
that's good
so
stuff.
funny, and I like how he wore the backpack, and he gets on the ladder and he pulls the microphone out of the RK Bro backpack.
Yes,
Riddle is a gem on the
he
show.
is, man.
He's keeping
Oh,
Raw alive for me.
yep, totally.
We also had round two between Morrison and Ricochet. This one ends up being Morrison wins, and this is because Ricochet gets counted out. They both end up falling ringside. However, Morrison's able to make the count. Riddle is not because Miz rolls in his way. So as he basically blocks Ricochet off with his wheelchair, so he can't make the 10 count. So Morrison ends up winning that, but then a third match gets the rubber match gets announced for next week, which is a Falls Count Anywhere match. They're making what I said last week come true, where I said we could watch these guys wrestle 10 times. Looks like we're gonna watch Morrison and Ricochet wrestle a few more times.
Yeah. I'm good as long as they stay entertaining, and not
Yeah,
doesn't get ridiculous.
I mean,
The first one was really good, man. I mean, and their styles mesh.
for sure, for sure.
Definitely enjoy watching them both wrestle each other.
We had.
I
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I read earlier that apparently Ricochet and Ali's had a pretty good feud going on what is it, main event or something like that, or it comes
Really?
on.
Yeah,
Maybe
main event.
maybe
Yeah,
it's,
main
maybe
event.
it's 205 live or something.
I
Like
think it's probably main event that they're on.
okay, yeah.
It could be 205
I've heard
live.
they've been putting up some pretty good
Both.
bangers there. There it is,
Um,
bangers
Bangers. Word of the night.
and mash.
Three. My third point here. We have Jinder. Jinder Mahal, the modern day Maharaja.
Raja rolling in on the motorcycle.
That's right. He did roll in on that sweet motorcycle. It was a custom motorcycle that he got during his days as the champ.
Oh, yeah.
Then he says he demands a match against Drew, and tonight he's going to prove how good he is. That he was probably the better of the 3MB group. Jinder and his crew get DQ'd. I said his crew because I don't know the other two dudes' names. Get DQ'd because they're beating down Drew McIntyre, and then Jinder steals Drew's sword.
And here's your new feud.
Thank goodness.
Yes, he's away from the world title. He's not going to go for a belt for a while. Yeah, so
Two things. It draws Drew away from the belt for a little bit.
Yep.
Also, I like Jinder. So
I do too.
And I really enjoyed his title run. And I'd like to see him. And I want to see what this group does. I like a good faction. So and especially a good heel faction.
Right, yeah, and and a lot of people hate Jinder. He's got go away heat with a lot of people, but he's been around. If you watch him, the evolution of his character, he was in 3MB, and and then the Maharaja, you could ask yourself the first time you've seen this dude and be like, he's going to be world champion one day. You would have never said that, and then. And they plugged him in there and lifted him up, man. And then all of a sudden now he's back on TV. So, yeah, I've always, always liked it too with guys that made it like that for so long, and end up getting a nice run.
We had, speaking of Mustafa Ali, we had him against Mansoor. Basically, he's been telling Mansoor every week, don't trust everybody. Don't be too nice to everyone. He's been trying to stay in Mansoor's ear, giving him kind of tough love, kind of, but also, it's legit advice.
Sure.
But anyway, they end up having a match because Mansoor just wants to be the nice guy. And Mustafa Ali ends up playing possum and gets the win over him. So basically proves his point right there.
Yep. Mansoor.
We have Charlotte. This is probably my favorite moment of the night. Charlotte comes out. So last week, Rhea Ripley chop blocked Charlotte, and since then, Charlotte's been injured.
Sure.
And so she comes out on one crutch. She's hobbling, talking about how she might have to miss Money in the Bank now because of this, and how Rhea is doing what she would do. So she's like, Rhea, you're doing what I would do. Good job, kid. I taught you well, apparently. And before you know it, Rhea's music hits, and she
Yeah.
has one crutch, and she's like, "Oh, she stole my entrance now."
Right.
So then Rhea hobbles out. She actually sells the injury way better than Charlotte. And then right about that time, Rhea's like, "I know what you're doing." So they both throw the crutches, and crutches start flying. And
Yeah. Start
neither
strapping
one
each
of them
other.
are really injured. Yeah, they start
Yeah.
scrapping. It was great. It was just so funny how they were mocking each other. How
Yeah.
Size comparison, Rhea is probably the perfect matchup for Charlotte. Uh, experience wise, probably not, but size wise, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Definitely match up good, man.
We have the United States title match announced for next week. Sheamus has finally cleared to wrestle after that broken face, and against Humberto Carrillo.
Who broke his nose, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I love how they do that. Like,
Yeah. He's the
oh,
one
you
who
really
broke
broke his nose? Where you're gonna get there and Sheamus probably gonna give him some hard licks here.
Exactly. It's when he gets them 10 beats of the Ballard, he's gonna knock his chest in.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
And
Broke.
oh my gosh. We had the return to the in-ring competition of Montel Vontavious Porter, MVP himself.
MVP 305.
That's right. I like MVP. I always have. We had the Hurt Business in full effect with Lashley and MVP in there, and the main event against New Day. But my boys,
Yes, it is.
My boys, the New Day, did their thing and beat the Hurt Business in the main event.
How about it?
That's right.
How about it?
So, Bob Lashley looked pretty PO'd there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
You can't beat the 11-time tag champs just like that.
That's right. The Almighty. All right. Well, that was Monday Night Raw. A decent Raw. It wasn't too bad. Riddle.
Yeah, it had a little bit of substance.
Yeah, Riddle kept me interested. The main event was good. I feel like, and I hate it, man. I hate it. But when Alexa Bliss shows up on my screen, I want to hit fast forward, or I want to go pee, or go eat, make a sandwich.
Yeah, I like Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
But this whole thing, I'm ready for her to just be Alexa Bliss again.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Is the Fiend gonna have to come back and she's got to get her soul back or something? Like he's got to, I don't know. I don't know.
He just like
how are we going to get away from this?
He de-exercises her.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, right. I don't want you to be in my group anymore.
Tune in to Monday Night Raw for the next exorcism where we bring Alexa Bliss back to life.
Back to normal.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. NXT, we had the Great American Bash.
All right. Great American Bash, baby.
Baby, if you will.
This is the brainchild of Dusty.
Dusty, the American Dream, baby.
Yeah.
First matchup, my boys, MSK versus Ciampa and Thatcher.
This shocked me. Great match. This shocked me, though. The finish shocked me. I thought we was going to have new champs here.
Did you?
I did.
I mean, I'm guilty. I kind of did too, but I didn't want to because personal reasons. But
yeah, I'm okay with them keeping them. Yeah,
MSK is on this dream run basically, and they're constantly the underdogs, and they're proving people wrong each chance they get. With that, was that the orange citrus?
Yeah,
orange
citrus. Rowdy's in the chat, so I was going to show my Rowdy.
Yeah. So we have the MSK and still your NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, this was good.
And that was a good match. It was. They went back and forth. They beat the tar out of each other.
Toothless Timmy.
Oh man, let me tell you, him and Ciampa. When those two are in the ring, there's going to be some.
Somebody's losing some teeth.
Yeah.
yeah, somebody's losing some teeth, and probably them and whoever they're fighting and them.
Well, that's the thing. They go so hard, it's them getting hurt. So
and Ciampa, look at this dude's beard, man. Like it's growing sideways
it's
now.
Like it's so scraggly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about that actually when I was watching it. It's his beard is so wild.
Yeah,
You need to trim it up like your boy Primo here.
I know.
Uh,
Straight.
yeah, there you go. Clean.
Nada.
He'll have a shaved head and baby face.
Right.
So next up, we have Samoa Joe and William Regal in the ring. Regal says he needs to address Gargano and Cross and demands they both come out to the ring. Gargano arrives, Cross arrives. Regal says things need to be settled. Johnny says at Takeover, Cross realized that he isn't in his league and he's scared to get in the ring with him because he knows Johnny will expose him. And I agree, Johnny.
Annoying headband Johnny.
I love Johnny. Regal announces the NXT Championship match for next week between Cross and Gargano with your special guest referee, Samoa Joe. Joe. That's right. Joe's gonna kill you. So that's going to be interesting, and unfortunately, I know Cross is going to win.
Yeah. What's the over under for stare downs in that match between Joe and the competitors?
Lord. I'd say at least four piece.
Give me the over. Give me the over.
I'm going to go over. Yeah, for sure. Over. Yeah. We'll go with more 7.
Than 4. He'll do 4 just with Cross alone.
Yeah. For sure. Exactly. Cross started to go after Gargano and was right there. Samoa Joe was ready.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, oh, here we go. Yep.
It's Samoa like Joe is the one guy that Cross will just like, all right, man.
Cower from. Yeah. Like kind of like, all right, cool. We're good.
Next up, $1 Million Championship match where we know if LA Knight were to win, then
Knight.
Cameron Grimes would have to be his butler. And wouldn't you know it? Let me talk to you. Your boy, the $1 Million Champion, LA Knight wins and still $1 Million Champion.
Yep.
Cameron Grimes is now his butler.
We're in for some good TV here.
It's going to be so good.
We were talking about it earlier, man. We're like, I don't want LA to win. I mean, Cameron's winning the belt later on down because
it's a slow burn. Yeah.
He's getting over. Now, here's one. Yeah, slow burn. So like comedy is going to ensue. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be funny. Like he's going to be the worst.
Not have him as the butler.
Right.
He said, "I hope you get your gloves ready. I hope you get the sponge ready because I got your butler now."
All right, so let me talk about this real fast. Cameron's getting over organically, and because he's so good and entertaining. Did you notice these are kind of things that really start to get wrestlers over? Just in my humble personal opinion. All right, did you know? Like when he comes in the ring, when he gets in the ring, he's got his hat on, and he takes his finger and he kind of goes, real slow. Did you notice last night? When he started to do that, people started to say, "To the moon."
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did it twice. He only does it once normally, but he's
starting to feel it.
He did it again, man. He's starting to feel it. So, yeah, these little things like this. Sorry, my chair is getting hung up here.
Heel chair.
Yeah, he's starting to feel that daggum heel chair. He's just starting to get over, man. It was funny. Like, I don't know. I just noticed little stuff like that a lot of times. You know what I mean? And like he is organically getting over. Like he is, he's going to be a big face here shortly. I mean, he already is, but
for sure.
But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be so good to see where this goes with the whole. But the comedy is going to be off the charts.
It is. He's going to be the worst butler ever, and I can't wait to see it.
So next up, we have The Way versus Io and Zoe Stark.
The Way.
So, and that's Candice LeRae and Indy.
Index.
Basically, match gets interrupted because the battery's finally fully charged, and the return of none other than Tegan Nox. Which she was taken out by Candice.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes out, interrupts the match. Zoe, I spelled this wrong twice on my sheet. Zoe and Io end up they are the new NXT Women's Tag Team Championship.
Tag team here.
Nox proceeds to come down and get a hold of Candice LeRae and beat her into the crowd.
think they're trying to put the rub on Zoe, man. And I've been watching her a lot lately, man. She's really good. She does a lot of, you can tell she's been doing it a long time. She does a lot of little small things. And I think they're trying to put the rub on her here a little bit with EO.
I think it's a weird combination.
It is weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
and
weird.
I like how Candace and Indy were like, y'all aren't even friends.
Right. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Zoe's, she's, she don't really have a gimmick. She's kind of all American.
Yeah, she's just a wrestler.
Yeah, but she, I mean, you look at her and, she's a great wrestler, but she just screams independent wrestler. You know what I mean?
Jacked.
Like, yeah, she's jacked. She looks great, wrestles great. Yeah, I just feel like she needs something, or we need a story with her or something, but.
Next
we'll
up, we have Adam Cole, baby, versus Cool Kyle.
Cool
Part
Kyle.
2.
Was this the main event?
All right. You still there?
Hang on, sticking. You there?
Yep. So
We good?
we have Adam Cole, baby, versus Cool Kyle, Part 2.
I don't know why it does that.
So basically, it was a long match, longish. It was the last part of the show. Your main event, Adam Cole defeats Cool Kyle, and now they're now 1-1. So obviously, that's going to lead to a rubber match. He was able to win. He did that Panama Sunrise into the what's it called? There's the knee to the back of the head. They call his move.
Oh, where he pulls the
Yeah, he pulls the knee pad down.
yeah. Kill shot or
Something like that.
Yeah,
last shot, last call.
last
It can't be last call. That's James Storm.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so that's the main event. But real quick, we also had the announcement of the NXT Breakout Tournament participants.
Yes.
So we had Trey Baxter.
Yep.
Carmelo Hayes
was Craig Baxter was Christian. I can't think of his name. Just signed off the Indies. Really good wrestler.
Carmelo Hayes, which we've seen him pop in here and there on NXT recently.
Yep.
We had Andre Chase. Josh Briggs, which is the final Evolve champion.
Yes, Josh Briggs. Love him.
I'm going to try to not butcher this.
Okay.
Ikemen Jiro. Did I say that right?
I don't know. That's the first time I've seen him.
So he's in there.
Yep.
Joe Gacy, former CZW.
That's right. Yep.
Odyssey Jones, former football player. And Duke Hudson, also known as Brendan Vink.
Yep. Love Josh Briggs signing. I've seen him wrestle a ton. Real cool dude. Talked to him a few times. Glad to see him on NXT. So I want to talk about too, Primo, real quick. How annoying was that Hit Row segment? Ugh, that was awful, man.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was not needed.
Not needed. Not needed. And it just kept going. Like, okay, let them all rap a little bit, and then let's move forward.
That's the thing.
A little bit and came back and rapped more.
Don't overdo it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to be cool, you shouldn't try to push it too hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that was I was a little turned off by that. So, but otherwise, that was a really good show. So,
because I still like Hit Row, and I still like Swerve Scott for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But don't make me not like you.
Right. Yeah, I didn't need that segment. We already know Top Dollar can rap, and it's going to be a part of their gimmick. And that's fine. But
I mean, I already have to hear R-Truth do it. So
right. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the weekly recap, man. That'll get you all caught up. So you're ready to go for tonight's AEW and everything else the rest of the week. All right. Now let's get to the drop kick discussion of the week. What are we talking about this week, Primo?
Let me holler at you, player. We're talking about your top 3 Undertaker matches.
That was so good. I didn't know you were going to do that. It was great. The Undertaker.
That's
That's
right.
great, man. All right. Yeah. So, talking top 3 Undertaker matches. Grab mine here. Yeah. So, when talking about Undertaker matches, he's had a ton of great matches, but it's the ones that stuck out in our minds, maybe that we've seen live, maybe that we've seen on a pay per view, maybe, something, a
Yeah.
match that you watched when you were young.
Yeah, these are your personal favorites. They may not be the absolute greatest Undertaker
Yes.
matches
Yes.
overall. These are
Yeah.
your personal opinion.
Yeah, these are all, and when we do these, are always our personal opinion, always our top 3 favorites, or
Right.
whatever, top 5, whatever we doing. So, all right, let's get this thing underway. Then, Primo, you want to start us off, man?
I will. I will start us off. And real quick, I went back and forth on my number 3. I flip flopped this so much.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and go with what I put on the paper here. But I will say real quick, my honorable mention will be. This was almost my number 3. Honorable mention will be Undertaker versus Kane, WrestleMania 20, The Return of the Dead Man.
Nice.
That's whenever he got buried alive at the Survivor Series before by Kane.
Mm-hmm.
He no longer was the American Bad A Undertaker. He came back at WrestleMania after messing with Kane's head all through Royal Rumble WrestleMania season. Returned as the Dead Man at WrestleMania 20. So that was my honorable mention.
Okay.
Let's talk about my number 3. This one, I think you'll appreciate this one.
Okay.
My number 3 will be, you got 2 legends in the ring. This is the peak of Big Evil. I'm talking Biker Taker. And this is also during the revival of One Other Man's career. We had 2 legends in the ring.
Okay.
It's Undertaker versus Ric Flair, no DQ match, WrestleMania 18. He was peak heel status. He kept lifting Ric Flair's head.
Yes.
When he would pin him. You had a double-A spine buster come in during that match.
Yep.
There was bloody. It was personal because leading up to that, Undertaker beat up on Arn. He also beat up on Dave Flair. And it was when they started really paying attention to that streak because that was number 10.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome. Good pick, by the way. That was one of my honorable mentions. I have 2. But yeah, that was one of my honorable mentions. I like it. That was in there with me too. But my other honorable mention, if you tuned into the show last week, I revealed that SummerSlam 2000 was my favorite SummerSlam because I was there in the building that night. My honorable mention was, if I'm mistaken, I've been to a lot of wrestling, so I can't remember. But I think this is the only time I actually seen Taker and Undertaker wrestle live. So I in 2000 that I was at.
Who?
What's that?
It's the only time you saw Undertaker wrestle live?
Oh, no, one time I saw Undertaker wrestle Kane live.
Oh, Kane. Okay.
Yeah. The only time I seen them wrestle Kane live was SummerSlam 2000. So I'm going to throw that in there as my honorable mention along with the one that you said. All right, top 3 for me. WWE No Way Out 2006. This was The Undertaker versus Kurt Angle.
Good.
This was a flawless match. Kurt was great in his prime. This really elevated Taker. He was this kind of brought back Taker, from he had not so great matches and stuff. This kind of brought him back to that level. They told a great story. It's one of the biggest matches I remember wanting to watch. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this might be the last time they wrestled each other. I don't think they wrestled each other after that.
Well, 06 is also when Angle went to TNA. So
sure, right, yeah. So that was right after that. So right along those times. So for me, number 3 was that match with Angle at No Way Out 2006.
Great match.
Yeah, it was.
So my number 2. Now, y'all have heard me talk about this match. I've sprinkled it in a couple times throughout our 17 episodes, baby. Woo! So my number 2 is from Monday Night Raw 2002, whenever at the time the dead man Big Evil was an undisputed champion, and he had a ladder match on Raw with none other than Jeff Hardy. And
Nice.
That night, Jeff Hardy earned the dead man's respect.
Yep, I remember that. Yep, the big handshake
Yeah.
afterwards, and
Being a massive Jeff Hardy mark that I am, I will forever remember that match. I watched it
Nice.
live. I was a little kid. I was
yeah,
freaking out,
Right.
man.
yeah, yeah, that was good, man. And you look at that match, you're like, oh, Taker versus Hardy, like the different styles, but but they pulled it off, and
I mean,
as only they can.
And the thing is, like, and you think about that, Taker versus Hardy, and especially back then, because at the time, Jeff wasn't a main event guy yet. So, however, Jeff was the one that was well versed in the ladders,
Right. Yes.
not Taker. So
Right.
they really worked. It was great.
Yeah. Nice choice. All right, for me, number 2, I'm going to kick it back to the 90s here for my top 2. My number 2 was basically the creation of Hell in a Cell. This was Hell in a Cell match, 1997, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. Now, what made this so interesting was Shawn Michaels with Triple H, Chyna, and Rick Rude. This was the creation of the Hell in a Cell, was made to keep DX out of the match,
Right.
Because it kept getting involved, and so that was kind of the creation of the match. Taker ends up getting the win. Kane debuts the Tombstone, and that was a very interesting night for Taker, but a great match it was. He beat the fool out of Shawn, and it was just a crazy wild match. Like one of the times I've like watched and kind of like Shawn was flopping everywhere. Worse than he did with Hogan that time.
I was about to say, yeah, we just talked about that.
Yeah. So 97, man, was the match with Shawn.
All right. Well, let's go. My number 1 then.
Numero uno.
So let's go back 3-1. We have my number 3 was WrestleMania 18, no disqualification match between Big Evil and Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 was Raw 2002, Undertaker versus Jeff Hardy for the undisputed title on a ladder match. My number 1, speaking of Shawn, my number 1 will be the first of the 2 matches, the back-to-back Shawn versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. It was a great match. It goes up there against one of Undertaker's greatest matches of all time. It was just awesome. So, and it was one of Shawn's, towards the end of his career. It wasn't quite. The second one was his last one, but
Sure.
It also stacks up against the second one. But I'd say I like the first one better, and it was just amazing. That's the one. Whenever he did that, man, I will always remember watching it. And when he does that dive,
Yes.
and he was vertical, and
Yes.
he just like, I was like, oh my god, because he's a big dude.
Yeah, he drops fast.
Yes. But no, great match overall. Shawn versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. That's my number 1.
Nice. Yeah, man. That was definitely one of the better ones I've seen too. So for me, number 3, No Way Out 2006 versus Kurt Angle. Second Hell in a Cell match versus Shawn. Kind of the creating, and then to kick it back, if you heard me talk about Hell in a Cell matches, my number 1 was the King of the Ring match with Mankind in 1998. One of my favorite matches of all time, period. When I got downtime and I'm just chilling, wanting to watch a little crazy wrestling, I throw that match on, or I'll watch it on YouTube, and because, it was crazy, with everything that went on. Undertaker went into this match with a broken foot. He had a broke foot going into this match already, and so it was crazy because he went off he threw him off the top, and then the choke slam, which ended up going through, that wasn't planned.
It wasn't supposed to, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And,
also, Mankind started on top of the cell.
Yes. He climbs right up there off the top. So that's the first time I've ever seen that happen.
Undertaker had to climb that cage with a broken foot.
Yes, right off the bat. Yep. Yep. So it's crazy, man. It was held in Pittsburgh. That is no doubt my favorite Undertaker matches. I could watch them all on a reel because they're that good. But, if you got to narrow it down to three, man, I'll take those top three.
Yeah, I did my best to not put that on mine just because I knew it was going to be on somebody's list. I really wanted to be different.
Yeah.
I love that match too, though, for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and it's one of the most memorable matches in wrestling history.
It is. It is. It is. And, it's always going to be right there with top Undertaker matches of all time, too. So. All right, let's talk a little news and notes here, man. As we often talk about here, NXT, as Primo says, firing on all cylinders. It's awesome. Each and every week. What do you think, man? You think Triple H running the show there, kind of having free reign, is that why it's so good? You think?
I say that is only a part of why it's so good. I say it definitely has something to do with it, but I wouldn't say it's the majority of why it's so good. I think it's the scouting that they're doing, the talent they're bringing in, and the talent that's willing to, a lot of the talent they have there. Back when NXT was incepted, it was the development show.
Sure.
But now you have all these guys there. They're not looking at it as a development show. They're looking at it as their show.
It's a brand.
So they are just kicking butt and making it the best show that WWE has right now. Now, I will say Triple H is responsible for probably almost all of that. But that once he recruits the talent, it's up to them to make it happen. So, if he didn't have the proper people, on the show,
right,
then it'd make it, not very fun to watch.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened with Jimmy Uso here, man. Tough. That's tough, man. He's in a huge main storyline here on SmackDown. He's got in trouble with the law again. Where do you? First of all, I mean, we're not going to talk about what happened. It's everybody's seen it on the news. We've been here before. Let's talk about what happens now because he's such a big part of the storyline, with Roman and Jay. I hate to see this happen. But where do we go wrestling wise because of this?
I think that Jay comes back sooner.
Yeah.
Originally, I figured Jay would come back at Money in the Bank to make a run in, and so that was how Roman was going to keep the title.
Mm-hmm.
But now, due to this, Jay may come back quicker. It'd be silly of them to just ignore it and just to keep going like they are as far as the storyline. And for there not to be any kind of backlash on Jimmy, but you don't know. It's not my company.
Right. I mean, Primo, go ahead.
As a fan,
right?
I like Jimmy Uso, and things happen. I'm a lifelong Jeff Hardy fan. Okay,
sure,
so,
yeah.
Things happen. I get it. So,
right. I mean, we've been here before with Jimmy. It just seems more significant this time because of where his spot is on.
Right. So I did read online that obviously higher ups are very disappointed because of what happened and his current status with the show. So, because he's been in the spotlight every week, obviously. I was just talking about him. He was in the main storyline. So, and then it happened during Monday Night Raw. So,
yeah, he wrestled Edge.
He was so bored in Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
I don't know. But no, for real though, hope things start turning up for him.
Sure.
And that, we'll see what happens. I guess only time will tell. Well
said. Man, I'm excited to see Andre.
Andrade.
I'm ready for Andrade.
El
Idolo. As I've always been a big fan of his, man. I'm excited to see him get going tonight versus Seidel. What about you?
That's going to be a spot fest.
Yeah.
And I'm going to love it. I'm going to love every bit of it because it's going to be great. Andrade is itching, chomping at the bit, as we say, to get in there and mix it up with some AEW talent. And who better to do it with than the high flyer Matt Seidel?
That first match with the other company is when you leave another company to another one is big time. So
right. So they're going to be flying all over that ring.
Yep. I thought about him yesterday, man. Where's Daniel Bryan?
Well,
Anybody know?
he got fired from SmackDown,
Sure.
and kayfabe, but
Right.
I'd say he's definitely not coming back at Money in the Bank. But SummerSlam, I'd say, would be a good time frame. That seems like a good enough vacation.
Yep. Fans are back. Pay per view. Be a lot of yeses in the crowd.
That's
Yes.
right. Bring
Yes.
him back just in time to get Guest back.
Yep. And one more thing I want to say: everywhere that I've read, WWE is taking SummerSlam. This is going to be their WrestleMania this year because the fans. It's going to be big. They're talking about they're pulling out all stops. Don't be surprised if we see Rock or Stone Cold or some.
I
What I
mean,
mean?
we have fans at
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah. We did have fans,
Sure.
but
And it was, I remember watching it, getting the chill bumps. It
yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah, I think that was a little more. This one's going to be a little more comfortable, I think,
Right.
because a little more like old school, like they used
Just
to do,
like the old times.
like the old times. Yeah, like 2019 when we
That's
used to
right.
do regular stuff.
Back in the day when we would shake hands with people.
Yeah.
High five.
Right.
Yeah.
Shake your hand.
Real quick, last big part of news. I have it wrote down here. I don't know if you can see this. Can you read that?
100 downloads, 3 weeks in a row, baby.
Yes,
We did it.
sir.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Nice,
We
man.
did
Always
it 3
love those
weeks in a
days.
row. The streak stays alive. Speaking of Undertaker, we got something in common, baby.
I know. Man, he kept that from me, folks. I didn't know it. So super excited, happy about that. 3 weeks in a row, we've hit 100 downloads. Thank you guys. We could not be more thankful. Let me take this time to thank everybody out there listening or watching on Twitch, listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. If you're listening on Sportinarium Radio right now, thank you guys so much, man. We could not be more happy about the way the show is going. I'm excited. We got a bunch of interviews coming up. I'll tell you guys all about that later. But let's keep the story going here as man, I'm fired up. 100 downloads.
That's so
man.
cool,
That
man.
is great,
3 weeks
man.
in a row. Now we got to tell AJ whenever we get off here.
That's right. That mark. All right. Here we go. Primo, quick discussion on the state of wrestling as we just talked about. We're heading back into fans. What are the big storylines across any company? You pick one, I'll pick one, and that's gonna put butts in seats. What are we? What are we buying the ticket to see here?
Right now, any fan is going to buy a ticket just to see Edge. I think hands down, they brought Edge back just in time to make sure they get some fans at Money in the Bank. Make sure they get them tickets sold.
Yeah. I like it.
Legendary superstar. Everybody's an Edge head.
Sure.
No matter how much you hated him in 2005, today you're an Edge head.
Yeah. So that's big for SmackDown. AEW, the Omega, the New Japan feel. They're creating the baby faces. I think they got a lot of different things going on there to get fans energized about. Jericho's still there, killing it. Pinnacle versus.
I think everything on AEW is exciting for fans. You got all of that, and especially even on Impact, you got I think that's a perfect time for Sammy to get that title.
Oh man, I would love to see it, man. I'd love to see it come back on Sammy. Bring it back to Impact. We got a heel champ.
Yeah,
they can start pushing the baby face.
Yeah, and he'll the only person he'll be nice to is you for wearing his t-shirt.
That's right, Callahan Death Machine.
That's right.
I'm from back in the day, man. I've been a fan of his for a long time.
But no, I think that all those across the board, and even NXT too, that's going to be the perfect time for Cross to lose the belt, and for him and Bronson Reed to move up to the next level. Which I say next level, it's just not really, but that's how they portray it. And for them to go to the Raw or SmackDown, if they're lucky, they'll go to SmackDown.
Yep. All right, yeah. So all those definite storylines, I think, are definitely going to work here.
One more thing,
sure.
I think that they still haven't really done the superstar shakeup.
I think it's been mentioned.
So after fans,
It's after something. It's
yeah.
after something. I want to say it's after SummerSlam or it's after Money in the Bank. I want to say it'd probably be after SummerSlam. Make
So
more.
after they have solid fans, then
Yeah.
they'll do the superstar shakeup.
Yeah.
You
Hit the
know,
road. Yep.
they can
Live
start
shows.
building some real storylines again.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Yep. All right. Well, that's a few news and notes here. All right. Let's move on to our next segment, man. We got this new segment we're going to bring in here. It's called Promo School. So, Primo, what do you say, man? It's time to go to promo school. This is when we're going to talk about legendary promos. We're going to play them for you here, and we're going to talk about them. But first of all, I'm going to set up today's uh, promo. So I'm trying to think how I was going to say it. Yeah, set up today's promo. We're going to highlight the Hard Times promo from Dusty Rhodes. All right, Primo. This was way before you were born. All right.
Whoa. It's not way before. It's 4 years before I was born.
All right, so let's put this together here. Let me put this. October 29th, 1985. Dusty Rhodes comes back from being hurt by the Four Horsemen. It was a big, bad beat down, and he was coming back on TV for the first time. And he comes back. Listen to this, listen first of all how Dusty says Flair. He says, Ric Flair!
Ric Flair, baby.
Listen to the way he says Ric Flair. He talks about, coming back, being hard times. The reason why they call it hard times is because Dusty talks about, him going through hard times because the horsemen have been beating him up and stuff. And he's like, nah, that ain't hard times. Hard times is when you put in 25 years with a company, and then they give you a watch, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's
he's going level with the blue collar workers.
Yes, he is. He is. And that's part of it. That's why he's like, my hand touching your hand right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is super babyface promo. I read up on this. Allegedly Dusty said he never wrote anything. This was pure, off the cuff. He was coming back from injury, so he wanted to come back and really make a big splash. So that was like I said, he was turning from a beat down. He wanted to be like, look, I'm going through hard times, but hard times ain't nothing like this. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, so here we go. It's always funny in this one too when he talks about it. He goes, my belly's a little big, my butt's a little big. I always love hearing that. So, all right, here we go. Hard Times promo, 1985.
The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And Dusty, your fans welcome you back, man. First of all, I would like to thank the many fans throughout this country that wrote cards and letters to Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, while I was down. Secondly, I want to thank Jim Crockett Promotions for waiting and taking the time because I know how important it was. Starcade 85 it is to the wrestling fans, it is to Jim Crockett Promotions. And Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, with that weight, got what I wanted. Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor among thieves in the first place. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times are when the textile workers around this country are out of work and got 4 or 5 kids and can't pay their wages, can't buy their food. Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job 30 years. 30 years, they give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard time.
Woo! Good.
That's hard time. And Ric Flair, you put hard times on this country by taking Dusty Rhodes out. That's hard time. And we all had hard times together. I admit I don't look like the athlete of the day supposed to look. My belly's just a little big. My hand is just a little big. But, brother, I am bad, and they know I'm bad. And there were bad people. One was John Wayne, and he's dead, brother. And the other one's right here. Nature Boy Ric Flair. The world's heavyweight title belongs to these people. I'm going to reach out right now. I want you at home to know my hand is touching your hand for this gathering of the biggest body of people in this country, in this universe, all over the world now. Reach it out. Because the love that was given me in this time, I will repay you now. Because I will be the next world's heavyweight champion on this hard time blues. Dusty Rhodes Tour 85 and Ric Flair, Nature Boy. Let me leave you with this.
Oh, yeah.
One way to hurt Ric Flair is to take what he cherishes more than anything in the world. That's the world's heavyweight title. I'm gonna take it. I've been there twice. This time when I take it, Daddy, I'm gonna take it for you. Let's gather for it. Don't let me down now, because I came back for you, for that man up there that died 10, 12 years ago and never got the opportunity to see a real Wolf champion. I'm proud of you and thank God I have you. And I love you. I love you!
Wow.
That's so good.
How-
That make you run through a brick wall right there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I got goosebumps, man.
He said, "There's bad men. There's John Wayne and there's me, and John Wayne's dead."
Yeah, the other one's standing right here.
That's right.
Man, oh God, I got goosebumps, man. Like that was just so good because he recognized the love and support that he got while he was hurt, be it a work angle, whatever. And he was coming back to saying, hey, I'm coming back. I'm going to win this title for you, for us, for everybody. I need you to stay with me. Man, this is why Dusty taught promo class.
I was going to say, that's
NXT
exactly
forever,
why
man.
he taught promo class. I mean there's a reason he was there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Unbelievable promo there. So, all right, well, that's going to do it here today for Promo School. We'll bring that back here shortly. Next up, man, I want to talk about somebody here real quick. We'll bring him up on the screen here so anybody watching can get a good look at my man here. All right, so I want to make sure that got up here before we go. Okay, yeah. So our wrestler spotlight of the day today is the Patriot Dale Wilkes. Now, if you hadn't heard, it's not coming up for whatever reason. But all right, if you've ever heard of the Patriot.
There it goes.
Okay, there we go. All right, so he just passed away a while back. So, but let me tell you something here about the Patriot. His real name was Dale Wilkes. Primo. He was an All-American football player at the University of South Carolina. He mainly did talent enhancement work for the NWA. He was well pushed though in the WWF, the AWA, All Japan. But his biggest, he headlined an In Your House pay-per-view with Bret Hart back in, I think I want to say, was it the late 80s when that whole United States versus Canada thing was going on? I believe that they were doing all these In Your House as well. The Patriot being a big, American, gimmick,
Right.
perfect guy for Bret Hart, So anyway, Bret ended up beating him. In that pay-per-view. So, but he had small little flashes in the pan, but of stuff that he did. But let me tell you though, man, every time I went to see wrestling in the NWA in the South, this guy was always on the card. He was always one of the first guys to come out, American flag, high-fiving the kids. He was I just always remember him being on just about every card that I could remember going to. He was in a tag team one time with Marcus Bagwell, aka Buff Bagwell.
They were called
Buff and Stuff. They were called Stars and Stripes. So but anyway, just wanted to give a shout out to him, man. Rest in peace, the Patriot Dale Wilkes, man. This guy is the epitome of wrestling. he was, he wrestled, for a long time. Once he stopped wrestling, I saw this guy at autograph sessions. He would be at Walmart doing autographs on a Saturday afternoon, that kind of stuff. So, wrestling needs these guys like this for it to succeed. And he was one of those guys that I just want to make sure I brought attention to him, and that his passing didn't go without us noticing it here. So rest in peace, the Patriot, Dale Wilkes, man. Thanks to him for all that he gave to the sport of wrestling, for all those, times he was on the card, to, the first match coming out, on the house shows and that kind of stuff. Just a real big part of my fanhood, man. The Patriot was always on NWA and AWA and stuff, so always seen him somewhere. So, but that's my wrestler spotlight today, man. The Dale Wilkes, the Patriot. All right, next up, man, let's toast to Rowdy. I'm drinking that orange citrus today. Thanks for sponsoring the show as well. Also, 1310 Apparel. That's 13, the word, the number 10.bigcartel.com. Use promo code SPORT30 for 30% off. All right, Primo, let's do a little sidestep here, man. Let's talk UFC real quick. Who you got, Conor or Poirier here this weekend?
So, oh, man, I'm a Conor McGregor fan. I won't lie. Poirier looked too good last time they fought. But Conor does his homework. So,
Conor
I
needs
think
this one.
In this third matchup, we have the Irish coming back. Conor McGregor will take it.
Yeah, I like it, man. Conor has to have this one, I think, to kind of keep his lure, that he's kind of the man in the division. What else is on that card?
We got Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson.
Okay.
We got Greg Hardy. He's on there.
Yeah.
We also have the opening match of the main card, Sugar Sean O'Malley.
That's right. Yeah, nice. This will be a second fight back after injury.
Right. And then on the prelim card, we have one big one on the prelim. We have Carlos Condit, which
nice.
is a name I hadn't heard in a while.
Actually. Yeah. He's been gone here for a little while, or kind of fading off the scene here a little. Interesting. Okay. Nice, decent card there.
Yeah, decent card for sure. But yeah, I would like to see Conor take it, and I hope he does.
Too. It's always good for UFC, I think, or in MMA when Conor wins. It just makes it more interesting.
It definitely elevates the sport.
I always want to see the walk too, man. The Vinnie Mac walk, man.
100%.
Got to see that. All right, AJ. AJ. AJ's not here. Primo. We usually start with AJ on this segment. That's why I said that. I did a Jim Ross there, didn't I? Whoops.
Yeah, he sure did.
Oh, anyway. Let's see.
It's that muscle memory, I'm telling you.
I know it is, man. Yeah. All right. So it's normally AJ first. Primo, has your favorite champ changed? I believe you're always been Roman.
Yeah. So I do let Roman wear my shirt.
What a guy.
However, this week, I don't feel like I can say Roman this particular week because he wasn't even there.
True.
So, in lieu of that, I'm going to have to pull an AJ and say Miro.
Miro beating up my boy, Pillman.
He sure was. He was beating up Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Omega, man. I was trying to think who's going to get me excited enough to win the title to leave Omega. To reiterate, Mega's been my champion because of the whole Impact New Japan relationship where they're all kind of lifting each other up. I love to see that stuff, and I like to see. With Omega bringing in different people.
Cross promotional stuff.
Yeah.
When does he face Andrade for the AAA?
I want to feel like it's coming up. I feel like it was on a Sunday or something, maybe, or something coming up. I'm not sure. But yeah, they got to get that one done for sure. Get that belt on Andrade.
It's going to be August 14th at Triple Mania 29 for the AAA Mega Championship.
Sweet. All right. Yep. So I'm going to stick with the old Omega. Thumbs up, thumbs down, Primo.
Thumbs up for me. This week will have to be. I like the AEW is back on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
That I do like that. I also like that they are moving to. They're now going to be moving to other venues, live venues.
Yes.
Start traveling again. We're 1 week closer to fans on all promotions. And and also Money in the Bank is coming up next week. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So it's closer to that as well.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, thumbs up for me. I like where we're trending. It seems like the wrestlers are getting excited about going back on the road. They're starting to talk about it a little more. They're advertising, where you can get your tickets, and WWE's going on this 10-city tour, and all this kind of stuff. So thumbs up to everything ramping back up, starting to feel like everything's going to somewhat get back to normal. Thumbs down. I'm gonna say the hit row segment of NXT.
Yeah.
The only thing I can really fuss about really in the last couple of weeks, but if I'm having to pick something, so but
how long until I'm gonna say at least 2022 until maybe even like spring or fall of 2022. Excuse me, whenever WWE does their first European tour.
all right, yeah, they're gonna kick back up the India shows, and I wonder if they'll do that,
India
or Australia and all
Saudi.
that stuff. Australia just went back on a 3-day lockdown like 2 days ago.
I feel
So
like
it's
somebody else did too.
still going pretty
Japan,
good.
I thought, was
did they?
did something.
Yeah, having some resurgence in some places. So, well, hopefully that doesn't mess anything up. All right, let me show you guys here, man. Brand new PWI magazine just came out here, and guess who's on the front? Primo, tell them.
DMD, Dr. Britt Baker herself.
Looks like she's doing like a curb stomp
That's
kind of there
exactly
on the
what it looks
front.
like. Yeah.
She's on the front. Roman Reigns is on the front. Paul Heyman talking about meet the real Roman Reigns. Ricochet versus Ali, the greatest feud you've never seen. Also SummerSlam, and talking about this here, man. They got a good article in here about Indy and a wrestler, deathmatch wrestler, Alley Cat. But she is now Alley Catch.
Alley Catch.
As, she is changing her gimmick up a little bit. And also, one of the other quick articles that I looked here, haven't got to read it because I just got this thing. So, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander, which probably my favorite entrance music right now. I love Josh Alexander. I don't know why. It was the same music he had with Ethan Page when they were the North. So, I've always been a mark for good entrance music, and Jake something, of course. But yeah, Dr. Britt Baker, big article in here. Also, a big article in here about Jade Cargill. They are comparing her to China as the 10th wonder of the world. See if I can find that here real fast and show you. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with her. There it is. The 10th wonder of the world, Jade Cargill. There's really got her with China there. Sorry, it's a little sideways. But yeah, So awesome. Always love when I get that PWI in the mailbox, man. Always cool to and look, there's Daniel Bryan. Right there.
That's what he's doing.
There he is. We were looking for him. He was in the PWI.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah. All right, Primo. That's about going to do it for the show here today, man. What's going on next week on the pod?
Next week on our episode 18, July 14th edition of Sit Down Marks, we will have for you our part 2 of Big Beef's interview coming to you, as well as our top 5 favorite wrestling ring announcers and commentators. This show is also the pre-Money in the Bank / pre-Slammiversary edition. We'll also, since AJ will be back next week, we'll also have the return of our squared circle questions. We all know if AJ was here this week, the champion would have taken it and rolled right through all those questions this week. I was ready.
He's dodging you.
That's right. He is dodging me.
You can run, but you can't hide. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show today. I want to thank everybody once again. Our sponsors, Rowdy Energy, keeping us fueled up throughout the show, and also 1310 Apparel. What's that promo code, Primo?
To get your 30% off of 1310 Apparel, you'll use the code SPORT30. That's SPORT30.
All right. You heard it right there. I want to thank everybody listening right now. We really do appreciate everybody watching us on Twitch, listening to us, and subscribing on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Now on Sportinarium Radio online radio, sportinariumradio.com online radio. We are live every Friday at 7:15 Eastern time, right after the Thomas Bryce show. Come for the pod. Stay for the 80s mega mix.
That's right.
After the show.
That's right.
Right?
We'll leave you laughing and feeling good. And guess what? That 80s mix will make you want to dance. So
Never gonna give you up.
That's right.
Never gonna let you down.
we'll roll you right into getting Rick rolled. So
That's right. We'll rickroll you at the end of the pod every week.
yeah,
AJ's going to send you home with them cakes, and then you'll get rickrolled.
absolutely.
And then Steve Winwood too. I like the Steve Winwood Wood song comes on. But anyway, enough about that, man. All right. Well, our boy AJ is not here to usually close the show. So Primo, looks like it's your job, man. Take us home.
Oh man, AJ, I can't do this as good as you do, buddy, but I'm gonna try. Everybody, grab them cakes.